You're listening to the Late Night Football Show with your host, Rohit Singh. That's me. On this show, we talk about some of the most seriously silly topics from the world of football for your entertainment and enjoyment. Please remember that the show is BYOL. Bring your own laughs, since we don't have the budget for a studio audience. Happy listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Late Night Football. Yes, we have now reached the stage where I won't be naming episodes on this show. That's amazing, right? Anyway, we have a lot to catch up on, so let's get right into it. Football's coming back, in Germany at least. The Bundesliga resumed this weekend after months of absence, and we're all excited to watch football again on our TVs, phones, browsers, unauthorized streaming sites, or however else people watch it these days. These are exciting times for me too, because there's only so much you can drag out of boring boardroom discussions and behind the scenes politics, of ending the season early, all of that. But anyway, there was drama even before the games began, when it was learned that Augsburg manager Heiko Herrlich would have to miss the restart because he broke the league's quarantine rules to buy a toothpaste. Now, of course, that's not his fault because he just wanted to make sure those teeth are pearly white when he shows his face on 4K HD cameras again. And we all know how difficult dental hygiene is. After all, there's a reason why this show is voice only as well, It's one thing doing video calls on a subpar, grainy computer webcam, but 4K captures even the tiniest of tooth cavities, and you can't show that to millions of people watching at home. Anyway, according to the league's regulations, he will now have to stay in isolation for 2 weeks before he can appear on the training ground or on match days. On the bright side, he will have plenty of time to shine those teeth real nice and get it ready for when he can return to the pitch. For his sake, I hope he brought 2 tubes when he went out, or he could be in trouble by the time the quarantine is lifted. It didn't get much better for him though, as Augsburg lost to Wolfsburg 2-1 in the Battle of the Bergs on opening day, or restart day. Dortmund hammered Schalke 4-0, and Haaland disappointingly only scored 1 goal in this game. Though at least he did observe the physical distancing rules when he celebrated that goal. Hopefully he can get over that rustiness quickly. Leipzig drew 1-1 with Freiburg. Their once credible title challenge is now sailing away as they seem to be getting dragged into a fight for the Arsene Wenger Champions League qualification trophy. In another news from the week, and not wanting to be left behind, La Liga and the Premier League have also begun planning the return of their competitions next month. So Javier Tebas, La Liga's president, Donald Trump clone, and defender of football's righteous clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, and so on against the evil newcomers like PSG and Man City, did what he always does and bragged about the imminent return of the competition soon. This would be newsworthy if he hadn't been saying it every week already, but after coming up with nuggets like forcing sanctions on players and clubs who refuse to play because they're concerned about their safety, he came up with another gem this week. He suggested that players will be safer on the football ground than in their own homes. Yes, Javier, players will be safer in a space they have to share with at least 24 other people and up to 200 people than they will be in a space that they share with at most 4 to 5 people. Now imagine if a CEO of an organization came out and said that our employers will be safer in our offices than they will be at home. Sounds absurd, right? And that CEO would probably get a lot of flack for saying something like that. Now, I know there'll be people saying, but they will be tested, they will be kept isolated. And you're absolutely right. Players and playing staff will be tested before the games. I'm assuming the referees will be tested too, though I haven't heard anything about it yet. Most likely because nobody cares about them or because they could work from home via VAR anyway. But the club testing won't cover ground personnel, journalists, TV folks, security staff, and other media personnel who will be at the games, and who will presumably be subject to the same guidelines as the rest of us, which is basically a sort of an honor system. So is it really safer than being at home? Only if your home has 30 to 40 people coming in every week whose whereabouts you have no idea about and are hoping that they have taken the necessary precautions before walking in. Kinda like those night parties that players throw. Oh, yes. In that case, yes, it is safer than being at home for the players. Now, not to be undone, the Premier League has also begun discussions with clubs and players over health and safety guidelines with them over the restart. The discussions have mostly been around training grounds, like wearing a mask on your face, maintaining physical distance from each other, and what measures to take if a player tests positive for the virus. This is being drafted with UK government guidelines on workplace health and safety regulations, so at the very least, it has a chance of being more effective than their fit and proper persons test. Brighton and Hove Albion, also known in Premier League inner circles as Party Pooper FC, has asked another big question this week. No, I wasn't asking Leicester what the Fox says, but rather why is it safer playing on neutral grounds as opposed to at home? A question which became more relevant or irrelevant depending on your viewpoint when UK police said that they wouldn't be opposed to Premier League home games. And finally, it was the turn of the players to speak up when Newcastle United defender Danny Rose said what many of us were already thinking: I don't give an FC UK about national morale and some other stuff that isn't important. No, I'm joking, of course. This follows comments from Raheem Sterling and Troy Deeney on the situation, which is great to see because so far the only news stories about English players was how they were breaking quarantine rules by wanting to be themselves in normal times. And no, that is not me supporting them, that is actually a criticism.